Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Mexpat Podcast, or should I say, welcome to the Mexpat Podcast. This is, if you guys know, Jared and I, we've been doing this dating channel for a while, and we decided that we wanted to put together a podcast where we can discuss some of these dating topics on a deeper level because, you know, you can only say so much in a 10-minute YouTube video. So we're really excited to be starting to do this again and get out there, starting to make some live streams with different guys that we live with, guys around the city we're at. We're in Mexico City, and talk about all things dating, all things relationships, health, finance, you name it. So it's not just going to cover dating, guys. We're going to cover a broad, range of topics, but our aim is to do a lot of shows so we can get you guys a lot of content. So today's podcast, man, this has been a while.
Yeah. We've changed it. Seems like we change the channel every day sometimes.
Pretty much. Yep. Guys, we over 400,000 people don't unsubscribe. I'm joined here by my business partner, Scott, and excited to be talking about this topic, especially because, Scott, you came from this space. And, so we don't get shadow banned, we're going to say RP space, but you guys know what it is. And we're specifically going to be talking about why guys need to get out of this space at some point. We believe, to just give you a preface, we believe it's very important for guys to learn. And I think the RP space can teach a lot of things. But what we see time and time again is guys stay in this space and they become resentful at women. They become angry. They become bitter. They become emotional. And it's like, I thought the point of this space was to bring men and women together. So, Scott, you came up in this space. What have you, overcome on this journey and learned?
Yeah, so I kind of stumbled across the space. There are already things that I was sneakily suspecting over the years. Of course, what gets most guys to those types of topics is some kind of trauma, usually in a current relationship or a relationship that ended badly, where they got blindsided, whatever that looks like. The minute details of the stories differ, but usually it's the same core concept that guy goes into a relationship or a situation with a girl, has the rose-colored glasses, thinks everything is gravy like a Disneyland fairy tale. All of a sudden, the rug pull occurs, falls flat on his face, realizes that everything that he has thought about the world of dating is false, or at least in his world. I hear most guys that we work with, when they are going through these types of things, they'll say things like, I did everything right and nothing worked out how I planned. So that is an indicator to you that, hey, there needs to be a new strategy, a new philosophy, a new underlying core operating system. And a lot of these guys, especially still dealing with sour emotions, they gravitate towards this space. And to make it very clear, I think the content from an academic standpoint, I think it is good stuff. You need it a lot of times to open your eyes to make sure that you don't make these mistakes again. But a lot of times it's the way in which it's presented or packaged. It comes with that bitterness, that resentment, that, oh, well, it's not my fault. It's every other female on the planet's fault, which, okay, if every relationship you've been in, you get burned badly, then there is a core denominator there, and It is you, or a common denominator there, and that is you. So what I'd recommend, guys, if you're interested in these types of topics, get into the space. Back in the day when I got into it, a lot of it was red pill forums. So it was really just going in and binging that type of content. I watched a handful of creators. Some of them I got very close with. Some of them, guys, you probably came to me via their channels in the past. And that doesn't mean that I don't like them as creators. That doesn't mean we weren't friends. That doesn't mean that we're still not on good terms today. But it got to a point to where I personally felt like I needed to outgrow that space within the first year or two. And I was actively participating in this space, in the private forums, in the groups, managing private groups, going on prominent public facing podcasts with some of the influencers in these types of RP spaces. So started at the bottom, made it to the top, baby, and then eventually found my way out. And it started slowly. It got to the point where, okay, well, these guys keep talking about how women that do X thing will equal Y results, or to just blanket avoid women of all types. And then I realized once you actually start getting your reps in and start getting good and start doing a lot of the internal healing too, although packaged with the R pill type philosophy, because it is helpful to understand the way in which the world actually works, that you kind of transcend these things, that all of a sudden you're like, hey, I don't have girls asking me for money anymore. I don't have girls ghosting anymore. I don't have girls coming in the house and taking giant pulls off of bottles of alcohol and yelling and throwing shit out the window. That does not happen anymore. I saw that we had our rules. I dropped the S-bomb right on the 5-minute mark. Let's leave it.
Nice.
It works. But you get to the point to where this stuff doesn't happen anymore. So when you find these spaces, it comes from a point of, I'd say, emotional trauma to a degree, actual relationship trauma, and it is valid. But it comes to the point of, okay, well, dating wise, everything is terrible. The deck is stacked against me. Okay, that's great. So if you can come to that realization and then come up with a new strategy to essentially turn the tables and make it to where that you are in a position of leverage or advantage, then you essentially become the controller or the architect of your own dating life. And that's what Joel and I preach. That's what our entire channel covers. So it's not to outright openly dismiss these types of philosophies. It's really just a warning of, hey, get what you need out of there and then graduate. That's like saying, okay, well, I'm in first grade, I don't know how to read, and then you learn how to read, but you just keep repeating first grade. That doesn't make sense. There's other levels you can get to, and then once you do graduate to those levels, you'll realize, hey, you know what? RP was there when I needed it. I'm glad I found it, but I'm also glad I didn't get stuck in it.
Yeah, man. I mean, perfectly said. It's like you can't do the things that you did before just stop working. And I think that's what, I experienced. I think what it sounds like what you experienced and what we see guys experience too. It's like, okay, I'm going to go in with this attitude on this date. Well, wait, before it would get me X result. And now she just like wants to leave. Like, I don't get what's happening. So what we find particularly is a lot of guys struggle with long-term relationships and maintaining deeper connection when they're too plugged into the RP space. And I was the same as you, man. Like, I would binge that content all day long. That's how I met you. And
it felt
gave me
so
a lot
good too when you first found it.
Dude, like, yes, dude, I was right all along. And then you're watching certain shows where there's maybe a panel of guests and it's
the View for Men.
The View for Men.
It called.
Yep.
And I used to go on those shows. Yeah.
Yeah. And we talked about this last night at dinner. We if you come down to Mexico City, there's a group of us. We have a pretty large group, and we do group dinners. We do hangouts, and we think it's really important to connect with like-minded men. This will really help your development. So we were out at dinner, and we were all talking about that show, and we were just laughing. We were just like, man, they're just so angry. They're just so angry at women and resentful and bitter. And we get where they're coming from. And we get the guys that need to go into that space. We both did. At some point, it just stops working. And it's like, hey, if I'm going to have happy relationships, not just with women, but with men, I need to figure out how to like reconnect with, God, you going to say the word, the beta in me, right? I need to reconnect with that part of me that I said, no, you're weak. You hurt, you've hurt me. You suck up to women and all that stuff. That part of us was never a bad part. It just had a incorrect strategy. So yeah, it's such an interesting transition. And, we've lived together for a couple of years. So I've witnessed your transformation through it as well as mine at the same time, because we used to watch the same creators. We used to talk about kind of the same dialogue. And we don't really talk about that anymore because it's just like,
you evolve.
Yeah, we evolved, we graduate, and we want to make this podcast because we think there's a lot of guys that are stuck in there and they don't realize they're stuck in there, and they wonder why they're on a date and they're trying to be tough and they're trying to set the frame and they're trying to do all these things, and the woman's just kind of like, what's wrong with you, man? And so they've almost become like PCs.
Yep. And I can tell you what's wrong with them. So what happens is, and again, it's a good philosophy, especially I've heard some heartbreaking stories. We've worked with some guys in some really bad situations, but we get them turned around pretty quick too. Once you do got to get them the right information, but then you got to take it a step further and actually give them a strategy. What happens to these spaces, as I alluded to in the previous comment, was that guys come into it and then they just stay there and then it's just fixed. That's their fixed operating state of mind or frame of reference going into interactions with members of the opposite sex, or even just anyone for that matter. And what happens is, and I've been there too, thank God I got out of it pretty quick, but you go through the anger phase. So all of these past traumas you've had in relationships. So all of a sudden, it's not your fault. You don't have to take accountability. You put that on everyone of the opposite gender. And here's what happens. This took me a little while to figure out, but women can feel your emotions. So if you go into an interaction, platonic, romantic, whatever it is, and you have underlying negative emotions, then she will pick up on that. And it really doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't really matter what you believe. Doesn't matter how cool you are or how well you dress or what signature fragrance you have on. None of that matters. She can feel there's something off kilter with your emotional state. She will put up the guard. And then usually those dates peter out pretty fast. They don't even usually make it to the end. Or out of kindness, she'll let it go to the end. And then you do that awkward Hail Mary that, oh, got to go for the kiss now because she's about ready to get in the Uber, or you're not approaching it strategically. You're just off and you're still in a negative emotional state, which means that you are setting yourself up to fail because you cannot make the correct decisions. Now, the next stage is that you just come into it neutral. You have a strategic framework, you have a process, you know exactly how the process works. That's where Joel and I come in and help you. And then you just navigate the day like, hey, it'd be great if it went well. I hope it goes well. I hope I like her. You know, I'm out. There's other things I could be doing. And you just come into it like, she seems like a cool girl. Let's see if we click. Let's see if we vibe. Let's see if there's a spark or if there's chemistry. And I still approach my dates that way now. Like, hey, it's like a phone screen for a job interview. It's like, hey, I'm just trying to fill her out. Like, is there a fit here? Is this something I'd want to consider moving into the future? And you notice that I'm using I things. A lot of guys come into these types of spaces or when they're brand new and they think, okay, does she want a guy like me? Or how do I make her see me as alpha rather than beta? Or how do I get pre-selection? Or how do I, don't do this, guys, but AMOG, alpha male, the group over there, these types of guys. I haven't used some of these terms in a while, but you come in focused on the wrong things. Whereas when you come in with just a mental blank slate, obviously you're taking care of yourself. You're making yourself number one. You're leveling up. This is all good stuff from the RP type space. Be the best version of yourself. Yes, I advocate that. But as you continually iterate yourself, version 2.0, version 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, ad infinitum, then you show up on these dates and you don't have an agenda. You don't have an outcome. You have a goal set. You know what you're looking for, but it's really just seeing, okay, is she going to fall into this mold? And if not, then it's fine. There isn't conflict. There isn't back and forth negativity. And what happens is, you get an abundance of options. And Joel, I've recently went through this phase. I had too many options to the point where it became distracting it's like I had a magic wand. Oh, I want that girl and I can have her. Oh, I want those girls, maybe even at the same time. You can make it happen. And then you're like, okay, now I've got it. And you'll see that it comes full circle. So a big evolution or realization for me in the process also was, I mentioned girls can feel your emotions. But also once you can feel her emotions, then it's really just that underlying emotional energy. And again, it doesn't really matter what the first date looks like. It doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what you do. And then I realized the cherry on top of the sundae, icing on the cake was, and I was terrified to do this because RP taught me that, okay, well, you got to be alpha, always alpha all the time, or like be the cool guy of the group. But what happens is, like, I was never really a cool guy. I was always kind of a dork. So girls can tell immediately that it's a facade, that you're not being congruent. And when there's not continuity between what your core emotional state is or who you are at the end of the day, and then the actions you're putting out there, she knows it's an act. She will reject you. And then that will just reinforce the cycle. So you want to break the cycle and eventually get to the point, for me personally, and Joel, I think for you too, it eventually comes full circle. So when I was a kid, I remember my mom would say, oh, just be yourself and girls will like you. No, it was terrible advice because I didn't think highly of myself and I treated myself like crap. And I didn't have understanding of male-female dynamics in a romantic context. And I didn't have a strategy. And I didn't realize there's sequences and structures and subsequences and there's nuance. But once you get it all down, it comes full circle. It's like, oh, the more I'm myself, the more girls like me, and not any girl, but the exact girl that I'm looking for. The girl I've always wanted. Back when I was 15 and could get a prom date and laying in my room just thinking, oh, what a loser I am. Still the same person. Now I'm out there, but just like 19 versions better. I've been revved up a few times. And then you realize the more I'm myself, the more I get exactly what I've always wanted. And that's the place that we want our guys to be. We want you to put dating, the remote control in your hand. Whatever you want, you can get whenever you want it. And to do that, finding this RP stuff is a good first step for a lot of guys. but you want to take that second step, then that third step, then that fourth step. Then eventually you just get it and you never really have to talk about this stuff again, unless you're Joel and I, because we are nerds on these topics.
Yep. Damn
What
right.
say you? That's
Yeah.
mouthful.
Dude, love it, man. It's like, yeah, it's like there's a reconnecting with the nice guy, and like how you said it was like I get to be myself. And one thing RP does get right is they say that's terrible advice, and it is if the version of you that you are is needy and insecure and desperate for attention, lacks any sort of physical strength, discipline, right? So that is where it's correct. But what Scott's saying is that at some point you get to this point where you're like, okay, I have leveled up in these areas. I have become the guy that I was like hoping I would be 3, 4, 5 years ago. So I can't apply that same, I guess you could say, philosophy, mindset that I did when I was coming up. I have to reconnect with like almost like the nice guy. And like that's what it was like an interesting experience. Like a few months ago, it was like I started to like commit to like real serious dating. And I was like, I'm like bad at this. Like I'm just like running lines. I'm like
Yeah. It becomes robotic, like, and it works.
And it works for getting laid for sure. But I was like, I can't connect with this person. I feel like I'm something's shut off. So I had to work on coming back into like who I was, kind of embracing some of those, like you said, dorkier sides. Like I grew up playing video games and stuff, and was like a Harry Potter nerd or whatever. So girls will laugh at that when you own it. But if you're like,
I'll laugh at that too.
Yeah, nice. Dude, Harry Potter's a go, man. So much some heart and soul. But if you lead with that on the date, a girl's gonna be like, wow, and you're desperately trying to show her your knowledge and lore of Harry Potter, she's gonna be uninterested. But when you adapt it to a state where you can own those parts of yourself that are kind of not so, maybe you were a bit ashamed of before, you're gonna find the girl becomes a lot more, you said she's attracted to you. And like you said, the right ones are going to be attracted to you, not the ones that are interested in your money, not the ones that RP actually says to avoid. Like you just stop attracting those types of girls when you're truly in who you are as a person.
Yeah, they just don't even come on your radar anymore. And for guys that are maybe new to these types of topics, or you do find yourself stuck in the RP type spaces and you want to take that next step in your evolution to supersede that, to transcend, to really grow into a higher version of yourself. And again, it's not to discredit any of that stuff. There's a lot of good guys in there. They're doing a lot of good stuff. There's still a lot of mantras I still live by today. Hey, if you're feeling depressed, pick up heavy ass, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling depressed, pick up heavy shit and put it back down. Like when it comes to gym stuff, I'm super nerdy. I have to track everything out and have all the apps. I literally have Excel spreadsheets with trend lines of what my plan should look like and my actual goals, and need adjust based on all of that stuff. So I'm really dorky about that stuff. But sometimes you need a mantra of just like, hey, pick up heavy shit and put it down. Yeah. Sometimes you need Joel and I, we advocate this for our cold approach guys. Oh my God, I like that girl. And then she's staring at her and she knows you like her. And then she walks on by and then you're twisting your body and nope, 3, 2, 1, go. And then it's funny once you get that down, and you'll fall flat on your face a few times. That once you get that down to where, like I would say, airports are such a great place to meet women, because you have a captive audience. A lot of time it's boring. There's not a lot to do. It's an easy opener. Like, hey, where are you going? Like, oh, you just getting in, or are you just heading out? Okay, cool. You from here? Oh, you stop over here. Super easy to get those conversations going. And when you're able to do that, then you realize that, oh, okay. I had this happen last summer in Poland. Girls that I was very, very attracted to would approach me. And it's like, oh, okay. It's like, it actually feels pretty nice. And then when girls actually start approaching you, you realize that even if it doesn't go anywhere, that a lot of times you will make her day. Don't be uncouth. Don't be awkward. Don't be socially unacceptable. Don't be weird. Like, we can help a lot of you guys with that stuff. But most of our guys don't have those issues. However, going back to the RP topics, a lot of guys do fall into those issues because they ingrain these kind of broken or half-assed belief systems in their head, which are rooted in reality. So that's how they get away with it. But things like, I have to be standoffish, I have to be cold, I have to be emotionally manipulative. I can't talk today, but emotionally manipulative. Yeah, I can't say that. Emotionally manipulative. There we go. Manipulative. Anyways, we have to do tricks and procedures and, like you said, canned lines, and you'll find very quickly that it does work usually for short-term flings. And then a lot of
Yep.
times you'll realize that not necessarily the girls that you've wanted all along. You'll realize the girls that you've wanted all along, you've kind of friend zoned. There is friend zoning for women too. I would say that what that usually looks like is that you're consistently hooking up with a girl and she wants something more, but you're never going to give that to her. That's how I would describe like the female equivalent of what being friend zone is. But a lot of times there are girls that have just kind of been at arm's length the whole time, maybe a peripheral member of your friend circle or social group. And then all of a sudden the quote unquote, for lack of a better term, lower quality options in your dating market that you seem to be attracting. Once you cut those out, then your focus will start to shift and you realize, oh my God, I've had amazing girls that have liked me all along, or even going back to finding the RP stuff. So I was overweight as a kid, and I'll run into girls even now when I'm back in my hometown, like, oh, I really had a crush on you when you were like 12 or 13. I'm like, at that age, like I wasn't much to look at. Because in my head, I didn't have much self-worth, but you'll realize after the fact, like, oh, even when I wasn't the best version of myself, women were attracted to me, but you just couldn't see it because you had noise and nonsense in the way. And that's what we want to help you undo. It's a pretty quick process. Undo all of the negative nonsense and noise, get a strategy and plan in place that works for you. And then you're just on your merry little way. And then when you talk to any guys we've worked with, that they get the results really, really quickly. Because it's not like, oh, do X technique and get Y result. No, it's a framework, it's a structure, it's a philosophy, and it is custom tailored to you.
Yes. And it's absolutely psychology as well. Like we dive into like how guys think and how they can apply their own thinking to create their own dating life, because what works for Jaren's mindset doesn't work for my mindset and vice versa. Just using us as examples here. And you said it really well, man. Like, a girl will discover the truth of you. Like, so when you use those lines in the beginning, like to seduce, basically you can't run those same lines forever. So eventually she's going to see that like little boy in you that like is a dork or like likes certain, like has little quirks.
Look at me. Yeah.
Right. And again, if you're playing off a facade, which RP teaches, when that facade breaks, and some guys are really good at carrying that facade for a while, then what they find is like, oh, wow, this girl doesn't like me. And in fact, I'm actually struggling at building a connection with this person because I'm just programmed by all these quips. So what we really recommend guys do too, and this is what Scott and I actually did kind of together at the same time. I don't think we actually did it like, we didn't sit down and we're like, hey, let's stop doing this. It just kind of both happened at the same time. We just stopped watching that content. We just completely just changed our YouTube feed. Like my stuff's like golf and like Pat McAfee show. Like that's like my feed. Like it has nothing to do with dating shows or anything like that. And it's weird because even some of my favorite content creators, like Casey Zander, for example, I actually can't watch him anymore because if I do, I get angry. I just start like mistrust. It's like immediate. And I think Casey like helped me a ton, and I know he helped you a ton. But at some point, you just have to outgrow your mentors, and I think that's actually a healthy spot to be in. Like you're not just kind of following the same trajectory for your whole life. You gotta evolve.
Yeah, and let's get back to a point I made earlier in terms of a lot of times the message is right. It's on point or on par. Going to your golf reference there, but it's the way in which it's packaged. So yeah, same thing. Like Casey Zander, I think is a fantastic content creator. I think he's got great messages. He has a lot of core unifying themes that fit his philosophy, but a lot of times it's stuff like, oh, if you don't keep her satisfied in the bedroom, then, the next day she's out with another dude, and like very well could be, there's a good chance, but I don't like to walk around day to day with those ideas in my head. It's more like she shows up, we have a fantastic time, worlds collide, and then we are on our own merry little ways. And then whenever we see each other again, it just picks up where it left off. In those off hours where I'm away from her, I don't want to be thinking like, oh my God, I haven't heard from her. She texted another guy like, oh, she mentioned that an old friend came in town as an ex-boyfriend. Who is she really going? Like, I don't want any of those thoughts in my head. And you'll find that the more you remove those thoughts from your head, she'll sometimes your girl will think you're being cold. I get that every now and then, like, oh, you're cold and you don't care. I'm like, to be honest, I don't. Like, I don't think about it. Like, I have other goals. I have other things I'm working on. But when you and I are together, I absolutely love the chemistry. I love being around you. But it's something I want to do, maybe once or twice a week max, because I've got things I'm working on, and I want the space to miss you, and I want to really enjoy seeing you. Taking it from that approach, I don't know. For guys that are coming from BP prior to the RP transformation, they'd say that there's like that Disney fairy tale type fantasy. And I wouldn't say that I necessarily have that fantasy. It's just that, hey, I hope that would happen. That'd be really great if it did, but I'm a realist too. Probably won't. And if it doesn't, like, I'm just going to take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to, let it roll off my shoulders, not let it get in the way of my stride. If I'm dating a girl I really like and something happens and we're not seeing each other anymore, then I know that the next one's going to be even better because I'm getting better every single day I wake up. I'm a dork. And Joel, I've shared this with you. I have dashboards for everything. So objectively, me removing the ego, I can see in real time myself getting better since I track everything. So, so really bringing everything full circle again is coming back to like the RP stuff. It's not that it's necessarily bad content. A lot of that stuff is actionable. It is helpful, but a lot of times it is not actionable either. Like, oh, I got to set really, really hard boundaries. So you're just walking around, hey, people don't talk to me that way. Or, oh, you're going to say please and thank you to me. It's like, bro, who the hell are you? And I went through that phase, lasted like a week, and realized, oh, this is stupid. I've met guys on group meetups when I was in these spaces that would do that. We're having a good time talking to some girls, and all of a sudden a manager comes. He's like, hey, this girl says that your buddy was harassing her. I'm like, bro, what'd you say? He was like, oh, I told her she'd be prettier. She had a nicer smile. I'm like, bro, I am taken aback by that energy. Like, you can say that exact line, but in a different kind of emotional banter, playful type context. But if you're coming in hard, hot redlining it, then again, she'll pick up on your energy, and then the manager will get called. So while I'm texting her friend, I'm like, hey, what the hell's going on? Like you and I are cool, right? Like, we're still going to the museum tomorrow. No, I mean, you pinky promised. And then, I've told you those stories before, but guys, if any of this stuff resonates with you, don't worry. It doesn't mean you're a bad person or that you're going to be stuck forever. It happens. We've all been through there. In fact, you know what? I'd say you're in a better position being stuck in that place because most guys never get to that point. Most guys just go through life blindly thinking like, oh, happy wife, happy life. Okay, cool. Like, see how that works for you. And you could have a good relationship. Doesn't mean she's going to step out, but it also could be kind of stagnant, boring, not that exciting. I've found I've been in relationships too, where like she becomes my best friend or a roommate, but the physical attraction's entirely gone. So it's kind of like, all right, we're just platonic friends now. So like, let's just kind of keep it at that.
Yeah, man. Like, to your point about the Disney fairy tale, like I'm in a pretty good relationship right now. And, it's not a fairy tale. Like I've messed up. She's messed up. We've had to communicate things that are, not pleasant. And I've had to undo some of these mindsets because RP says you should never feel emotion. You should always be stoic. You should never let a woman know that you're upset. And it's like, yeah, that's terrible advice for if you're going to be with someone for many years, whether this one, like you said, works out or not, bro, like you're going to have to talk about shit. You're going to have to come to have conflict and have conflict resolution. And you can't do that if you're just like, well, nope, that's my boundary crossed. Like, nope, done. Like this person's out. So what we really want to teach too is like how to start stepping into those next relationships levels as well. Because, and I think what we find too is when we started to adopt this in our own dating lives, these kind of how to have better communication, how to be ourselves more, we attracted way more quality women that were like more our type too. It was like, it was like a 2-for-1. It's like we got to work on the long-term stuff and we got better short-term games. So I think this, if you're a guy that's like, man, I don't think I can let go of these red RP principles that I've learned, RP principle, that that'd be hilarious.
RP principle instead of PC principle.
You guys got to catch it at some point.
Yeah,
you gotta watch South Park. Yeah, so once you can, like, we really invite you to step into this new phase of development, and there's a lot of creators out there as well that teach like kind of more how to come back into yourself a bit and how to let go of, like how to actually have like proper communication with like a partner, which is like a, a big taboo word in like communication, bro. Like you should fucking just, your frame should be able to say enough. Like,
yeah, be vulnerable. What do you mean? You're weak? You're a spiritual being having a human experience. Yeah, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, soft, dude. Go to the gym. Go to the fucking gym. Like, oh,
Yeah,
bro.
exactly.
Yeah, great advice. So yeah, man, I guess we're coming up at the half hour here. Jay, I'll let you wrap for sure. I do just want to say though, on my end, like, this is awesome getting to do another podcast with you again. And there's definitely some rust. It's gonna take a little bit. Like, my intro was fucking terrible, but
Yeah, I think
we'll
we'll be fine as we are in this out. So yeah, the idea was, guys, just Joel and I work a lot, not just on the channel. For me, it's like activity number 5 in a day. So we figured just to give you a little more accessibility. We know that, we want to thank all of you who've been watching our videos for a while. For those of you who've been with me, when I started this channel years ago, back in my RP days, a lot of my initial followers, in fact, I think most of them even to this day, came through those avenues. So just want to give a little more accessibility, guys. If you ever, I think we're going to start doing these podcasts weekly, same time, same place. So be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of them. But it's really just kind of open format. We'll have a weekly topic, and then as these start picking up, guys, you can come up here, you can ask questions, you can converse with us. As Joel mentioned in the opening, we'll pull in guys from our community. We have a nice sized community of expats down here, guys that have worked with us, that have like not only gotten their dating life down, but actually made the full move. So there's actually a pretty sizable group of us down here now. So we're becoming strong and mighty in the heart of Mexico there. But yeah, guys, but easiest way, just get up here with us, leave any questions or comments or what have you in the chat. If you want to take the next step, book in just an introductory session with us. Yeah, there's a link down below scrolling on the screen. We'll put it in the description here once we wrap this thing up. But it's really just it's a 1-minute application. Just see if we're a good fit. Joel and I will get on a quick call with you, identify your goal set, identify where you're at, where you're stuck, what ideally you want to do, what you're working with, budget, timeline, scheduling constraints, any of that stuff, because really it's a process, it's a system. It's just like I used to work with guys back in the day. Oh, I want to lose 100 pounds in a year. Great. I've got a way to do that. And if you follow the system, it will happen. Our guys get results very quickly. Those who usually come down to Mexico, we'll start working with you weeks or months out. So you know what you're doing once you get here. And most guys get off the plane. We'll have a dinner schedule. We'll have a breakfast the next morning schedule. Most guys get off the plane like, oh yeah, no, man, I'm just stacked with dating. I'm like, all right, cool. We're here if you need us. So, so that's the typical.
And we do
experience.
We do remote as well.
Too,
so we want to be able to help you if you're not able to come to Mexico. So yeah.
Yep. So yeah, the whole approach is A to Z, guys. We cover everything. Joel more on the cold approach side, social game, night game, since he goes out a bit more these days. I've done all that too. I focus more on digital. I am a digital marketing consultant by trade. I have a very nice system that is very predictable. It gets me the results I want when I want them. And most of the time, as I mentioned earlier, sometimes I get a little overabundance. So I gotta take a step back, not open the apps, because it can get distracting once you get these things optimized. But no matter where you're at, what you're looking for, what you've been through, there's a plan, there's a process for you. We'll iron in your goal set. I advocate learning it all, but maybe you lean more cold approach over digital. A lot of guys lean digital over cold approach. It's up to you, but Joel and I will get you exactly where you need to go a lot quicker than you would on your own. So, do yourself a favor, hit that link down below, and we'll see you. Yeah, we'll see you 1-on-1 or 2-on-1.
Next one, guys.
Yeah, 2 guys, 1 call.